Okay, it's 8 p.m. We're in Miami, Miami-Dade, in Aventura City, a city in Miami. Today's live stream, oh, and we're also on April 22nd, 2026. Today's live stream is about when the path becomes truth and the lie is born. It's fantastic. It's amazing. The topic is so complex. Usually, when the topics are very complex, the live streams end up being very short because I get through the complexities of things very quickly. So, when the path becomes truth, a lie is born. Let's look at some examples for you. Do you want to talk about neuroscience? These are the patronage systems, okay? We won't discuss that today, but we will talk about divergences. Only divergences. Divergences like this. Suddenly one person laughs while another can't laugh at the same moment. Suddenly everyone syncs up one way and someone isn't in sync. Divergence, that's it, okay? This is interesting because this divergence can reveal a lot to us today. It will help a lot if we interpret things today. When the path becomes truth, it's very, very important. That's when lies are born. Here's an example I'm going to give you, which you'll really like. Dreams. I think most of those who listen to me know that I have a good portion of my dreams are very lucid, very real, and there's a very good interactivity, and I use logic and reason within the dreams. But dreams don't have much logic or reason, but I use and feel them, and I don't always remember the dreams, but whenever I'm in them and I wake up, I'll remember, and I'm there working on the ideas. And a very interesting thing about dreams is this: I have a problem, I take it to the dream. Somehow I solved the problem. Actually, the body reached a certain stage, a certain pleasure, a certain emotion, okay? And it configures that pleasure, that emotion, with that speech as if it were a solution. It wasn't once or twice, it was many dozens of times, maybe even hundreds. I woke up with the solution to the problem. Solution, and more. In the dream, half asleep, I wrote it down in my notebook. The fundamental solution. The solution to the problem. The next morning, I checked my notes and went to the material facts, to the science with evidence, right? It doesn't work. It has nothing to do with the materiality of life, nothing to do with the reality common to all. It has to do with my reality while I was dreaming, but it doesn't even have to do with my reality while I'm awake. It changed. But wait, it was a reality. I felt it was true. I felt I had arrived at the truth. So you felt you arrived? I felt I arrived. Is the path the truth? No, it wasn't. That only led me to emotion. And that emotion in itself is truth. But the path that brought you to have that emotion is not the truth. It's just a path for you to arrive at that emotion. And that's today's live stream. That's the gist of it. So, what happens naturally? When the path becomes truth, that's when you. If I experience an epiphany, if I feel a very strong emotion, if I feel eureka, I've discovered it. Now I see transcendence, enlightenment. I felt it. When I feel this thing I'm going through, this emotion that's there, it tends to ratify, to say that everything that happened before this enlightenment, this transcendence, this emotion, this metanoia, this epiphany, everything that happened could only have been true. So when the path becomes truth, the lie is born. Did you get the idea? Because we're not discussing the conclusion you reached on this path that led to this emotion. In the last live stream, I told you, look, you felt emotional, the tear fell, the tear is real, you felt emotional, you got goosebumps, the goosebumps are real, your heart beating is real, your emotion is real. What caused her to feel this little love for you might be a different path than yours from those who are different. The person next to you may not feel the same emotion. But you've confirmed that if I feel this emotion, this thing so pleasant and so... It's beautiful because it's true. Is this path true? No. It could be, but it's not, you see? Not in that sense. The path doesn't lead you to the truth. The path is just a path. It's a clever idea, something that brought you that feeling. It's a beat, a song, a flavor, a drink, a meal, a dance, and suddenly... Transcendence, the enlightened one. But the path that brought you here doesn't mean it's true. Yet for you, it was a great journey that sparked an unusual emotion, a metanoia, an epiphany. Just imagine if you have a very serious problem. It's that a psychological problem. It has to do with the physical, but it's very much related to the psyche. Imagine you have a reasonably large problem within yourself, a blockage, an energy that's accumulated in you. You're so big, you go so far, and you can't metabolize this energy. And suddenly, at some point, you reach a stage where you have an epiphany, you open up. That energy that was here in your chest, that was in your stomach, it comes out, it has an outlet. And simply that energy that was in your chest for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 10 years, she leaves, and that constipation, that visceral problem you were having, stops being fueled by the tension you were holding back, because now you've had an epiphany. So you say, it can only be the truth. If it has to do with Islam, man, it's going to be a miracle in philosophy, or Pachamama, or Spiritism. That healing session, wow, it opened up. It's a miracle. You're not feeling that pain, that problem anymore. It's gone. It really is gone. And then you say, if it's gone, then I've arrived. So that's the truth. No, no, no. When the path becomes truth, the lie is born. That worked. That was effective. Whether it's true or false doesn't matter to you because it gave you a very good feeling. And that feeling, do you understand? So what happens? If we're going to focus on these emotions, before you had the priest, the pastor, the guide, the guru, I don't know who guided people and instilled certain emotions in others. Nowadays, the four horsemen are on the internet. X, Facebook, Google are in charge. The horsemen insert a lot of news and emotions into you, and even in your feed, on your Instagram, on your Facebook, they keep putting those emotions in, and you interpret that as truth because you got emotional. Look how interesting this is. Is it true just because I'm excited? And with the lack of news, I can still trick you, capture you, and get you like this. Look, see, the news. In 72 hours, you'll have news. In 62 hours, something will happen. Then I add some excitement. It will happen. So it's true. When the path becomes truth, a lie is born. You, with your emotions, see that as truth. When this topic is discussed in this way, I feel it is true. When the path becomes truth within your lie. Do you understand? In other cultures with different ideas, in other religions, this feeling is entirely distinct. It's completely directed toward other words, body movements, and music. To live and experience the same infantia, the same metanoia, the eureka moment in those individuals, and if they tell you what they consider true, that they reached that point, that way of being, you would say, no, that's not true. Yes, it's not true because you didn't feel that emotion that way, in that place. And also because since you didn't feel it, you say, let's test this. Let's see if it's really true. Then you test it and see that your emotions don't really define what is true or false. The love you feel, the disgust, the anger, and the pleasure you experience do not define whether what is happening to you is good for everyone and for society. Because when the path becomes truth, the lie is born. That path may have been good for you, but it isn't good for all. But there's more. And this part is the most complicated for me, all right? It's the trickiest part for me because it actually happened to me with my partner while I was having lunch, enjoying some wine, and suddenly I had a kind of epiphany that often occurs for me. A feeling of great well-being. And in this very strong feeling of well-being, this very strong feeling of transcendence, which I often have when you have the sensation of descent. Now I see. The best part is that it exists. It truly is enjoyable for those who have experienced it. Congratulations, because this is great and good for everyone. We should all go through moments of transcendence. Life is transcendence, and it's a moment of great happiness, of emotion, of epiphany, of eureka, of enlightenment. Everyone has the right to it, as long as they don't limit themselves. In this moment of transcendence, do you believe that what generated this transcendence and the conclusions you have in your head, what comes to your mind from your ideas, is true? But it's a truth for you, okay? But I'll share it with those who are close. I'll share something about myself, for example. I'm going to go outside. I went into a church, an evangelical Pentecostal church, a church that has the gift of tongues. Suddenly I'm there in the church, and I have an epiphany, and the gift of tongues comes over me. I start speaking with such great emotion in the gift of tongues. It's an impressive thing. The feeling I have is that it's true, that the Holy Spirit is with me. That feeling is very good, very pleasant, and I let it out. From the moment I let it out, I look around and start explaining to people what I'm feeling. But the explanation is now a bit more specific. The explanation is, do you see? This is real. Aren't you coming? I want group coherence. I want to share this joy with those who are next to me. Then, when one of those people rejects that moment, the reality you're feeling, things get complicated. You lose your footing. You lose your footing. Isn't that interesting? A moment of speaking in tongues, a moment of miracle, a very strong moment in your life. You will share this moment with another. I feel this, and the other person sees through your words that it has nothing to do with everyone else, but more with you. And the other denies being there. Look how interesting. In that moment when the other denies it, when that part of the collective denies it, something interesting happens inside you. You still think you are normal. But you went to the cone that takes a rock in your brain. You go to the connection point, a stone. The connection point, the stone, serves for attack and defense, or to reinforce or replicate what you know. So you become a replicator of your knowledge, but now you have closed off. It's closed and focused on replicating, attacking, defending, or emphasizing. It stays quiet. Suddenly, it can be still. So, this is what's happening at this moment. At this moment, when you've arrived and lost your footing, because in your epiphany, in your glory, in your joy, in your gift of tongues, someone says, no, what are you doing? These silly things you're seeing. How is this silly? I'm at my peak. If I'm at my peak, it's not silly. I'm in my glorious splendor. I'm having an epiphany. I'm at the height of humanity, in transcendence, in a trance. This is fantastic. I'm there. And some drug use is in ecstasy. And at that moment, words come, things come, but that doesn't reflect reality. The path that brought you there, bodily movements, food, drink, or other psychoactive substances, led you there. But is the path the truth? If you think the path is the truth, a lie is already forming. That's what needs to change in your life. With people who are theoretical, you want to share this truth, and suddenly that person says, I don't feel that. Then the ground falls away. Then you're empty. Then you can't fit in with them. And then you close off. It didn't connect a single stone. But what's the problem? And I've been through this. You're normal for yourself. You're not different. You're just being normal. And when you're normal, you're going to talk to that person. You're going to show that person. But when you go to show that person, you're already more abrupt. You're more focused. You're aggressive. You're closed off. You can't see the nuances of the thing. You're replicating what you already know. Sometimes you know a lot of things. Sometimes you're very diplomatic. And then you keep repeating and belittling the other person, navigating it because you have diplomacy. Regardless of having diplomacy, you're in a trap. You opened a path of splendor and glory, of epiphany. You thought it was the passion of your life, the love of your life. It's enlightenment. It's what it must be. When you shared it with the other person, they didn't accept it, and now you've locked it away. And by locking it away, you use all your strength to show the other person. You think you're right, not seeing that you've brutalized yourself. And you can't see it, okay? You really can't see it, okay? You're just hurting yourself. That's why there are often so many fights in families in some places. We know each other and we'll share in moments of anger and love like a man made of flour. We'll pass on some content, an indication of what I believe to be that previous path, what it reflected in my life, which is wrong. So I'll say that it's wrong, or that path of great glory, which is right. You're right, just as I am. Our live stream today is based on this idea. What's the idea behind our live stream today? Just because you feel a strong positive emotion doesn't mean the path that caused it is good. If you feel a strong negative emotion like disgust or anger, Rui, really, I don't want to, or feel depressed, the emotions you have, the range of emotions. An emotion doesn't confirm how you felt it. The emotion doesn't indicate if it's true or false. So, what happens on these paths where you manage to transcend, where you feel really good? I feel good often. Many times I'm very, very, very good. Like, it's fantastic. The feeling of epiphany is a very pleasant sensation, truly wonderful. And when you're feeling so good, you have to somehow grasp these ideas. Look, I'm feeling a great sense of well-being. Could that be it? Okay? And open it up to discussion or not. I only feel your well-being as long as it's not harming the other person. Feel good, live, savor your well-being, because from the moment you speak expecting the other person to say yes, it's the same as you might lose your footing. I'm feeling it. It's my experience with my body and my way of being. It doesn't have to be true. It doesn't have to be a lie. It doesn't have to be, I'm already feeling it. And what I feel is the reality of my body. And that doesn't mean it's true or false. It's just my reality. So you'll lose that idea that when you feel good, that's right. When you feel bad, that's wrong. If I say this, because on social media, this is common. First, I throw things, images, and sounds at you to make you feel bad, and then I leave a statement. Then that phrase repeats, always repeating, with that view, that landscape, that image, or that bad music, that bad wrong one. But I always add a good phrase, a glorious one, some beautiful photos, and nice, pleasant music. And that phrase, I believe it's true, but it relates to that image, that music, or that smell, that taste, with what I was eating, with what I was doing. It doesn't connect to truth. You'll find much more truth in replicating, not by trying to replicate in a stochastic manner. Trying multiple times, testing 100 times, and testing 100 times. Look, it worked more than 70 times. If I tested it 10 times, it worked more than 7 times. So great, that's good. It's close to something that's common to everyone. In another case, sometimes it will work that way and it only works for you. If the body changes, if the philosophy changes, but if the belief changes, it won't work. That emotion won't enter. Because emotion also depends on your culture, it depends on your beliefs, it depends on what we say. So this concept will depend a lot on you. When the path becomes truth, the lie is born. Take care. That's the idea for today's live stream. Be very careful because many things in my life have had an interesting aspect. When a strong emotion comes with it, that pathway becomes a brain formation. So it's harder to undo what happened in your brain, as the emotion will further solidify that earlier moment. It's reinforced by the positive emotion. The negative emotion also solidifies by negating the earlier moment with the negative feeling. Do you get it? So, if you start to grasp this, you will control yourself and, whoa, hold on a second. I felt bad, but it could be true or false. It doesn't matter. I'll have to respond. We'll have to study it. And if we're in a community, let's study this together. Let's see if it replicates in other communities, in other beliefs, and other ways of being. But let's also not deny the feeling that came to you, because it's important for you to feel it a few times a day. Wow, I feel great. That's wonderful. All the sensations of the day. The epiphany, that emotion, that glory, that joy. You'll feel it several times a day. Some feel it with songs, others with words, others with simply walking. Allow yourself to feel it. Sometimes religions hijack this and say, you only feel this kind of thing inside the church. It's not a lie. That's the human body. The human body feels all these things, feels all emotions. But sometimes one person in the group manages to reach a certain level and determines that the rule to reach that level is to follow this, this, this. Yes, but those sequential steps are for your beliefs and your way of being. It's not about the other body type that can be female, male, man, woman, thin, fat, short, tall, I don't know, with a different metabolism, with different DNA. That diverges from your ideas. It diverges from your emotions. You don't feel the same emotion in the same place. That's when you start to respect. You respect and open up. Then you'll see that the path is lived through your experiences, always seeking social good, always striving for the best for everyone. Above all, don't let your brain's formation be shaped just because someone pleased you and you changed your view. If someone pleased you, that phrase posted by someone, or on the internet, Twitter, Instagram, if X shared it, it's true just because it had an ugly image. Above, or the very beautiful and pleasant image, this phrase is true because it accompanies this image, which creates this feeling, that company devoid of emotion. Sometimes these emotions are simply monetized or used to hijack you, trying to block things within your way of seeing reality, the logic and reason you have to follow a leader who has sometimes become radicalized. I have the truth because I feel that it is true, feeling that it is true. In fact, it is proven in the laboratory. It is tested. It is not merely felt. The truth is something to be proven. When you feel the truth on your path, it's not because you were born with it or a lie. That's what I wanted to share with you all. I know this topic is complex, and you may have different insights this week, just like I did. Big hug. See you next Wednesday.